It's interesting. I didn't really think about adding a framework or methodology to the book until literally the last edits. I was rereading the book through and I started to think about all these teams that we work with that are using these frameworks and methodologies. And as I looked at the book and it provides such a beautiful blueprint about how to create a customized sales journey, I realized that maybe the answer was a new, more modern, inclusive way to describe ways that a seller can actually, look at a deal objectively and also make it very tactical for them to execute. And so it's not, this like overarching, like really philosophical framework, but instead, intent, and I know we'll get into it, is really meant to be a very simple framework that if a salesperson or organization follows it, unlike these other processes and methodologies that were built for this very simple one person, two people, it really tries to encompass how deals are done today. And as I read the book for the third, fourth time, I realized, you know what? That's the missing piece. And that's why I developed NTENT.
Let's go ahead and break down NTENT for the people that are hearing about this for the first time.
Yeah, so NTENT, again, is really designed to be a way that if me as a seller, I can look and say, hey, if I can execute these parts of the process, I'm going to have a much higher likelihood of meeting the customer where they're at and hopefully us having a live opportunity as a part of it. So the first part of NTENT, the first N in NTENT stands for next steps. And the reason next steps are so important is in today's world, there's so much competition for time and attention, and the status quo is becoming what people default to. And so if you want to have a deal that is going to close, and it's for the buyer too, and that's why I tried to create intent from both people's perspective. It could be something that you would share with your buyer, right? You wouldn't go share with the buyer like, are you the champion? Are you the decision maker? The economic? No, right? Next steps is to say, look, if we're going to progress, then after every conversation, we need to drive the next steps. That in today's day and age, if you don't create momentum, people will default back to the status quo. And so that's where the next steps became such a huge part of this. As I thought about from working with so many companies, why are deals stalling? Why don't people close? And it's like, man, just set up the next steps. And if you just do that consistently, it's better for the customer. So then they really feel like you're being a guide for them. And it's also better for you because you're driving momentum in the deal as well.